Before time learned how to count itself, before seconds learned to line up politely, I was already watching. I am alone, present in the gaps between moments, attentive to the mistakes that reality pretends not to notice. This is one of those mistakes, a small one, a human-shaped one. Asterisk the world after the pandemic learned to live with quiet dread. Us past. Hospitals smelled like antiseptic and memory. Death became a statistic, then a neighbor, then a rhythm. Tommy disrupted that rhythm. He drowned at 7 Pool Blue and swollen from a public pool, eyes open, lungs full. The paramedics called it. His mother screamed into her hands. Then Tommy coughed. At 13, a fire swallowed his bedroom. Smoke blackened his ceiling. Flames kissed his skin until it blistered and peeled. They found him hours later, lying on the floor like a forgotten doll. His heart started again on its own. At 19, infection took him slowly. Tissue rotted, skin sloughed away. Doctors whispered words they weren't supposed to say out loud. He smelled like decay and copper and endings. Tommy sat up and asked for water. They called him immortal. They were wrong. I watched every incident from the same impossible angle. The fraction of a second where the universe hesitated, where cause leaned toward effect, and then ... stalled, like a needle caught on a warped groove. Tommy never healed forward. He reset, bruises vanished without fading, burns rewound themselves, rot snapped back into living flesh like a rubber band. Released time refused to pass through him. Tommy felt it, even if he couldn't name it. He complained that clocks sounded wrong, that rain felt stuck against his skin. When people blinked, it looked like they were vanishing and reappearing instead of moving. He once asked a nurse, "Am I late for something?" She laughed. She shouldn't have. I stood beside his hospital bed then, my shadow folding where light should not fold. He didn't see me, not exactly, but his eyes kept drifting to the space I occupied. "Why won't it finish?" he asked the room. "Whatever it is, 'cause it never started." I thought. Tommy was not immortal. He was paused, a human life caught between two seconds, held there since birth by an error so small even the universe missed it. His timeline never advanced. Every attempt at death was simply the world trying again, and again to move him forward, and failing. But systems correct themselves eventually. They always do, so I told him the truth, not in words, but in understanding. I let him feel the shape of it all at once, the frozen moment he was born into, the missing permission slip from causality, the quiet note in the margins of existence that read does not continue. His eyes widened. "Oh," he said softly. "So, I wasn't supposed to know?" I replied, gently, and for once, without cruelty. "You were never meant to start." The correction came without drama. No pain, no fear, just emotion for the first time. Tommy experienced the next second, and the one after that. And then there was no Tommy only, a completed equation. A timeline closed before it could fray further. Hospitals lost a miracle. The internet lost a rumor. The world never noticed what had been fixed. I did. I always do. If you feel, just for a moment, that time has stuttered while you were listening, don't worry. That means you're still allowed to continue, for now. I am alone. I have watched kindness used as bait. I have watched mercy sharpen itself into a blade. This story is not the one you just heard. This one moves. And before we begin, be aware of your breathing. There are places beneath you that count each. Inhale, asterisk. The underground does not wait to be discovered. It pulls. The thief feels it long before the faller. Pressure beneath his boots, a wrongness humming through the soles of his feet. As if the city itself has developed a pulse, and it doesn't. Like being stepped on. Sewer grates, sweat, rust. Alley shadows stretch deeper than geometry allows. Somewhere below, something scrapes metal in slow, patient rhythms. Then the ground gives way. Iron screams. Stone rushes up. Pain blooms hot and blinding as his shoulder hits first, then his ribs, then his head. The torch flies from his hand and shatters, coughing light across the dart before sputtering low silence. No, not silence, movement, movement, dot. A sound like dry leaves dragged across concrete, like fingers rubbing together in anticipation. The eyes appear one by one. Then, all at once pinpricks of reflected fire, multiplying until the darkness feels crowded. The thief tries to stand. His leg collapses under him. Something sharp bites into his calf and holds. The rats emerge. They do not rush. They circle. They are taller than he expects. Their fur is patchy, scarred, matted with old fluids he doesn't want to name. Their teeth are too visible, too deliberate. These are not scavengers. These are veterans. Some wear bits of armor hammered from license plates. Others carry hooked blades carved from bone and glass. Their crowns are not clever. They are trophies. Human rings bent out of shape. Dog tags. Teeth strung on wire. They seize him. Hands dash no. Pause, but wrong. Dexterous, confident, drag him across stone that vibrates faintly beneath his body, as if the tunnels themselves are aware of friction. Symbols smear the walls in dark, chalky strokes. They are not prayers. They are warnings. The air grows wet and warm. The smell thickens ammonia, rot, old, blood scrubbed clean but never forgiven. The thief's heart hammers so hard his vision tunnels. His thoughts fragment into useless pieces. Light, exit, scream, name, name. The chamber opens suddenly, and the Rat King waits. He is seated on a mound of debris and bone, his bulk sprawling outward like a tumor grown comfortable. His fur is slick and dark, crawling with movement that might be parasites or might be something worse. His crown is not wire or capsid, is a fused ring of human jawbones, teeth clenched inward, biting nothing forever. His eyes are wrong, not old, hungry when he speaks. His voice vibrates through the stone and into the thief's chest, rattling his lungs as if they are a part of the room. You fell, the Rat King says. The words are almost amused. The rats laugh, not chittering. Laughter. The thief's mouth opens. Nothing comes out. His tongue feels too big, too heavy. His thoughts stutter as panic swells, thick and suffocating. Can feel sweat pooling at the base of his spine, his heartbeat skipping, trying to flee ahead of him. He swallows. I didn't know. No one ever does. The Rat King interrupts. Okay, that is why it works. A claw gestures. The floor shifts. The thief watches in horror as a section of stone peels back, revealing a pit below with the shapes that were once human, not corpses. Worse, breathing, crawling, wearing collars etched with symbols he recognizes. From the walls, names, stripped down to noise and need. You trespass, the Rat King continues. You break, you bleed, so you will pay. I don't have anything, the thief gasps. Money gear, the Rat King leans forward. The chamber tightens. The walls seem closer now, watching, listening. We eat money, he says softly. We sharpen gear, we drown blood, smiles. But names, double quotes, his whiskers twitch. Names last. The rats surge closer. The thief kicks, thrashes. Teeth snap inches from his face. Something slices his arm just enough to burn, to promise more. His chest constricts. His thoughts scream over one, another, intrusive and frantic. Run, lie, kill, beg. What if I refuse? He shouts. The Rat King's grin widens. The pit below shifts. One of the collared figures looks up. Its mouth opens. No sound comes out. Only breath. You stay. The Rat King says. You forget. You learn to crawl. The thief breaks. He shouts his name. The moment it leaves his mouth, the sound dies not swallowed, not echoed, claimed. The chamber lurches. The rats shriek in triumph. The symbols on the walls flare, glowing faintly like dying embers. Pain explodes behind the thief's eyes as something tears loose inside him, something fundamental. He screams, clutching his head as memories blur faces without labels, voices without anchors. The Rat King, Convulses, grows, his crown tightens, teeth grinding together. Accepted, he roars. The restraints vanish. A tunnel splits open violently behind. The thief, stone cracking, ladders slamming down like thrown bones. Run, the Rat King hisses. The thief does not hesitate. He climbs as the tunnels chase him. A stone collapses behind his heels. Rats swarm, snapping, grabbing, trying to pull him back. One bites his boot, another his wrist. He kicks free, skin tearing, adrenaline drowning the pain. He bursts into the night, collapsing onto rain-slick pavement, sobbing, laughing, gasping air like it might disappear. He survives. That is not the same as escaping. Years pass. Without a name, he drifts. People slide past him. Conversations fail to stick. Authority ignores him. Love never quite lands. He feels watched, constantly mirrors lag half a second too long. Shadows clustered at his feet. He dreams of teeth, of tunnels that remember him. Then the city starts changing. Sinkholes, missing pets, children whispering about a crown beneath the school. He hears a voice sometimes, just behind his thoughts, testing syllables that almost sound right. One night, the ground trembles. The thief wakes as the walls of his apartment pulse, breathing in time with something far below. His chest tightens. Cold dread floods him as a whisper finally resolves into clarity. His name, spoken perfectly, claimed again. Outside, the street cracks open, and from below, something rises that has grown very, very fat on forgotten debts. If you are listening now, Phil, the floor dot names are not just sounds. They are anchors, and when they are taken, dot dot, something always comes up to collect what's left. There are objects that remember being more than objects. There are also witnesses who remember being less than gods. I'm alone, and tonight I'll tell you about a fork, because even the smallest things can carry wounds wide enough for time to bleed through. Do not laugh, it can hear you. Asterisk, the house is ordinary in the way most mistakes are. 2 stories, beige siding, lawn trimmed just enough to impress neighbors who do not care. At night, it settles into itself with the soft pops and creaks of cooling wood. The gentle breathing of a place that believes it is safe. In the kitchen drawer, beneath rubber bands and a bent spoon, lies the fork. For tines, stainless steel, cheap, mass-produced, forgotten, except it remembers. It remembers. Being longer, sharper, heavier in hands that shook with purpose. It remembers firelight, enchanting mouths. It remembers being driven into earth, into flesh, into moments that screamed louder than metal ever could. At night, when the house sleeps, the drawer vibrates. Not enough to wake adults, just enough to sing. The fork screams, then not in sound, but in pressure. In memory, leaking sideways. It's a kind of scream that presses against the inside of a skull until dreams spruce. The child hears it. Children always do. They call him imaginative, sensitive, going through a phase. His room is down the hall, door cracked, nightlight humming softly like a trapped insect. He wakes with the sound already in his hands. Fingers curled as if holding something cold. and familiar. He doesn't know why he walks to the kitchen. He only knows the screaming stops when he touches the drawer. The first time his fingers close around the fork, the world stutters, not breaks, not shifts, stutters. He sees no, feels other grips, other hands, blood slicking the handle, a circle drawn where no circle should exist. Words that were never meant for mouths, shaped like ours. He drops it. The fork clatters softly against the counter. Innocent again. The boy cries without knowing why. I watch from the space between seconds, where cause and effect argue endlessly. I remember this fork well. I watched it pierce a year that no longer exists. Long before drawers, long before kitchens, it was not made as a fork. It was reshaped. Each tine once marked a direction. Each direction once pointed to a different when. In that ceremonial, yes, that one, the fork was driven into the boundary of now, prying open a thin, screaming seam. Time bled. Something looked back. Something curious. The ritual failed. Most do. The tear stitched itself closed around the nearest available object, the fork. Now it whispers, not words, never words, but instructions, angles, pressures, suggestions that feel like instincts. It hums when held eager, like a muscle remembering exercise. The boy begins changing. Small things first. He stops asking questions adults can answer. He starts asking ones they can't. He draws shapes that make his teachers uncomfortable. He knows which floorboards creaked before stepping on them when he touches the fork. The screaming becomes ... clearer. Not screaming, really guidance. He learns where to place it, how hard to push, but to listen for the sound of the house holding its breath. One night, while his parents watch television downstairs, the boy stands barefoot on the kitchen tile, fork in hand. The drawer hangs open like a mouth that forgot how to close. I lean closer then, not to stop him. I never stop these things. The fork vibrates, eager, cool. The air thins. Somewhere, a moment that should not exist presses its face against the inside of this one. The boy tilts his head. Can you hear it too? He whispers to the fork, to the house, to you. The fork screams, the lights flicker, and the drawer opens wider than whatever should. I pull back, as I always do, as the rules require, because some objects remember being doors, and some children remember being keys to house EXHLE. Morning will come, the fork will be back in the drawer, and something else, something that learned how to listen, will be awake in the child, listening just like you are now.